This is Jack Nicklaus. You're watching Touching Greatness with Ted Sobel, celebrating 50 plus years.
Thank you, Jack Nicklaus, and hello again, everybody. Yes, it is the 50th anniversary tour continuing as we go into the world of golf tonight. Touching Greatness is going to touch a little greatness with certainly one of the elite teachers in the business. How are you, Brady Riggs? Good to see you, sir.
Great to see you, Ted, as always. How's everything going?
Well, it's going decently. Not my swing, but everything else is. By the time we're done with this show, I want to be able to say I'm a slightly better than what you used to call a bad hacker. So,
You know what? With that shirt on, you're setting a lofty bar. So hopefully you reach that standard.
I tried to get up to your standard with this shirt. What can I tell you? We will get to that, sir, and all about Augusta and all kinds of fun stuff. But this is the Brady Riggs that I know. Just standing out in front of his little place, and right now mostly Hansen Dam. You got Brentwood Country Club and also PGA West. Is that correct?
That is correct. That is an old picture.
Yes, it is.
Of a system I used long ago. That's Ben Fox hitting probably a 7-iron and hitting it straight as always. So it's weird, I'll see somebody I haven't seen for a while. It could be years.
Yes.
And I not remember their name, because I'm at that age, you don't remember names very well, but I can remember what we worked on in their swing, which is really weird.
That is weird. By the way, I'm Ted, if you don't remember.
Oh, good. Nice to meet you, Ted.
I'm here to help. Okay, so here you are, just doing your beautiful boutique look here of golf out on the range. And I love this one here, copying Fred Couples. We're going to talk about tempo a little later, but is it any better than that? Not one of my favorite people because what he's done in my life, but separate from that, if I could copy his tempo in a coma, I'd be in good shape.
You know what's interesting? I have a video of Ernie Els, Fred Couples, and Vijay Singh swinging on the range one after the other. Just literally, they're standing right next to each other.
Wow.
It's just like this perfect video where the timing was such that each person swung in the right order. It's one of my favorite videos. I love that one.
And this is one of my favorite pictures because I stole this from your site the other day.
Yes.
And I'm thinking, I wonder how often Ernie Els does this.
He could do it, for sure.
At his age, I suggest no.
You know what? So the bench is a reaction to my age. In the old days, I could do that off my knees, no problem.
Ah, okay.
If you remember
that.
Bobby Clampett did that in a U.S. Open, got into some trouble. Craig Stadler had a penalty at Torrey Pines one year doing that because he put a towel down and it was building the stance, so you're not allowed to do that. But because my knees aren't great, I do that off the bench now. But it's the same effect. It just isn't quite as glamorous. But yeah.
And by the way, for those who don't know, that beautiful swing there, that is you, correct? On the bottom?
That is me. That's not AI. I'm not sophisticated enough to know how to use that yet. But yes, I'm channeling a little Fred Couples there at beautiful Crystal Air Country Club in Llano up in the high desert. Great place.
Now you're talking. And then there is the great Matty Riggs, who I remember watching you over at, I guess it would be somewhere in the Valley. Where were you teaching before?
I was at Woodley for
Woodley, of course.
Years. Yeah, 20 years at Woodley. Yeah.
Right. So I remember her when she was just a little girl and you were showing her around the place. And she turned out to be one hell of a UC Irvine anteater, didn't she?
She did. She was a potential D1 college soccer player until her concussion as a sophomore in high school. And then she decided, you know what? I'm 5 foot tall and I'm probably going to die. So might as well, touch golf a little bit, see what I think. And in a couple of years, she became a, D1 athlete and had a great career. And it was really the time of my life helping her at UC Irvine and also coaching my younger daughter at John Burroughs High School, where she was the captain of the only Pacific League girls soccer team in the history of the school. So that won the championship. So
Look at that swing too. I mean, come on. How come I never did that, even though you tried to get me to do that?
Well, that's the loft principle, Ted. I don't know if you're familiar with loft.
No, it's a 4-letter word. I know that.
Well, it's lack of something talent.
Oh, effing talent.
Yes, that's the one. Yeah,
okay.
Yeah, she's got a little bit of that.
That's Mr. Loft to you, by the way.
Exactly.
And there he was today on the Golf Channel.
Yes.
Look at that with your buddy Eamon Lynch. And I love you guys bantering back and forth there, ripping the hell out of each other. That was fun.
Pretty much the normal circumstance when we get together. It's an abusive session, but it's always fun. He's great. I love Eamon.
Can he play?
You know what? Eamon could play. There was a time when he could really play.
Okay, that time is over.
Well, he just, he's had about 800 golf teachers and has tried everything. And he gives each teacher about 3 minutes to fix him. And if they don't fix him, then he throws a tantrum and quits again. So.
Okay, so you can use this term from now on. He has what I call the spider web effect. He's got that in his brain with 10 million swing thoughts, and none of them are good.
Yeah, he can't go from setup to the takeaway without, blowing a gasket. It's too bad because he was actually a pretty good player for a long time, and then he paralysis by analysis, which happens all the time.
Yes, I totally get it. So here you are, a top 100 U.S. golf teacher since 2007. Wow. I knew you before then, and I think you were probably top several hundred at least then.
Could be, maybe 1,000. Who knows? I don't know how that metric is judged, but it's been really fun being on that list. There's a lot of great teachers there, and one of the cool things in my career I can look back on and say I was part of that. So it's been fun.
And here you are also inducted into the Southern California PGA Teaching Hall of Fame, which ain't too bad. And if I know correctly, I think you're with a guy like with another gentleman by the name of Eddie Merrins. Is that correct?
Yes, the little pro, Mr. Merrins, is on that list. I think I'm still way too young to be on some Hall of Fame list. I'm a little upset about that, but you got to do what you got to do.
Yes, and there's Eddie, one of my favorite people, and to think that he actually tried to help me a few times, and you've tried to help me more than a few times, and I still am just awful. I mean, I know why Eddie left us. That's all I could say.
He was, Eddie was a class act, as everybody would know.
He was.
We all called him Mr. Merrins for a reason.
Great guy.
Bel Air's a weird place, man. They've had they just hired their third head professional in like the last 70 years.
Oh, I didn't realize that.
Yeah, Dave Potus.
I know that name.
Yeah, he followed up Mr. Merrins, and now Tom Gibson, who was at LA Country Club, went over to Bel Air, and he's there now, and he's a great pro, and that's a great place. Bel Air's a lot of fun. Wasn't
Dave Potus at was it Commerce?
I forget where he was before he went to Bel Air. I'm not sure, but he was a really good player. Dave was.
Yeah, he's been around for sure.
He's been around a long time.
Okay, so now you're working with a couple of pros that were absolutely elite at whatever level, and now they're trying to make the comeback story, and you're the one who's got to be the mentor behind them. I want to see if you agree with this.
Okay.
Calling you a simple unclutter your brain swing coach. Does that make sense to you?
Yeah, I think that would make some sense. It's funny because that was not who I was when I started way back in the late 90s.
And I was going to ask you about that.
Yeah, I think I had the normal arc, of a career, which means I failed my way into my profession. I didn't make it as a player. I wasn't qualified to do anything else, so I decided I might as well teach.
How hard did you try to make it as a player, by the way?
I think like everybody, we all have our stories about why we didn't make it. Mine sort of fell apart.
Yeah, mine is loft. Go ahead.
Yours was loft. Mine was, there's reasons, basically injury and other stupid decisions. But I think ultimately, I had studied the swing a long time trying to fix myself. And by the time I actually did, I was exhausted. And so I think it was time for me to stop competing. And because I spent all this time trying to fix myself, I learned a lot about all the different teachers and ways to get it done. So, but when I started my career, my arc was typical, which is I thought I knew everything.
Okay.
And knew very little.
All right.
And now as my career has moved on into the twilight or whatever it is now, I know I don't know anything at all about it, but I know exponentially more than I did when I started. You just become much more humble, and you realize there's so many ways to do it, and you try to really, instead of imparting my ideas about what the swing should be or the putting stroke or whatever onto a student, I really want to work with them to help them find their way. And that's the difference between now and 25, 30 years ago. So,
okay, like all of our swings, I assume your teaching techniques also always evolve.
you know, if you don't learn something every week in your profession,
Exactly.
you're failing, I think. You know, there's so much to learn and things change all the time. The technology is really exciting as a teacher because there's always new technology coming in. There's new analytics coming in all the time about how to score better and how to navigate a golf course. And, you know, those things are fascinating. And, you know, I have all the history. I'm in a really interesting place because when I came into teaching, video was just kind of starting, you know. So I learned watching videos or tournaments with Nicholas and Watson and all those guys. That was my generation. And then when I started really teaching, I started as video was progressing, you know. So I kind of learned from some old school guys like my great uncle in Arizona and other players who were great players. He played in 4 US Opens. He's a great player.
Wow.
But I learned from them how to shape shots and do all that stuff. And it was very much about results, not about how it looked. And then I went through the beginning of my teaching career with how it looked because it was Faldo, you know. And so we're all hell-bent on trying to swing like Faldo. And then as time has moved on, now we have TrackMan and all this other stuff. So I've sort of experienced sort of all the ways you can kind of get better over my many years playing golf, which is now 46 years in the game, which is amazing. But it's been really fun. I mean, it's been such an incredible journey along the way. And I know that things are only going to get better as we learn more and more about all the different parts of the game. So yeah, I'm learning all the time, Ted. Like some of the stuff I think back of that I was teaching in the beginning, it's horrifying. You know, those people should reach out and ask for a refund because it was bad.
Okay, well, here's a look at one of them.
Oh, good looking guy. For sure.
That's you. and used to be me. Look at that turn
hair.
that doesn't exist anymore.
It's incredible hair and great. Mr. Hogan. Yes.
Now you wanted me to be like Hogan, and I had an alley, but it had nothing to do with Hogan. So I don't know what that has to do with. But look at these pictures. This is the way Brady's old look used to be. This is probably what 25 years ago, maybe.
Yeah, probably at least that. It was at least that. And what you're doing there is what I would tell you to do today, because knowing your swing, like I said, I might forget a name, but
amputate my right leg.
Your hips are turning nicely there.
Oh, they are. Okay.
Yeah, that's a nice turn. Anytime your right hip is closer to the target at the top of the backswing than the outside of your right ankle or your foot, you're doing a good job of rotating. Of course, that's a practice swing, Ted. So
yes, it is.
I don't know if that would be the case when you're actually hitting a ball, but yeah, that's a nice turn. You'd have a chance from there.
Okay, and I always will remember until the day I die, and possibly after, my right butt cheek better be aimed at the target, or I'm in the wrong game.
And that's something that hasn't changed.
Okay.
For sure. There are very few players that don't turn something well in the backswing, either hips or shoulders, because you create speed that way, and then it allows you to attack the ball from more inside if you need that to happen. So setup looks good.
The setup is good because you yelled at me for like 15 minutes to finally do this.
Well, you know, sometimes that's what it takes. It's tough love.
I do remember, though, by the way, you showing me swings of Hogan and a couple of other real great old timers.
Sure.
And they tried side by side. I don't know who this other guy is because it's cut off, but whoever it is, it might be Davis Love, a younger one, maybe.
Could be. Could be. It is possible for sure.
Yeah. And try to compare them. Not that I'm going to ever be compared to them, but just say that's what your sort of goal is.
Yes, I think it's important to use visuals, models of not a swing you want to copy from start to finish, but an element of a swing that you currently struggle with and a visual of somebody doing it differently. It's a nice thing to kind of zero in on and focus on that one piece. And again, like nobody can swing like Tiger, and even though Adam Scott was close. And what's interesting is that if you look at the top 10 players in the world at any given time in history, you know, I'd say since, you know, we were really seeing video a lot, whether that was Byron Nelson and on, at no time in those, in all of the decades, have we seen the top 10 players look like anybody else. Maybe the only time they were close was in the 70s and early 80s, where we saw a lot of lateral leg slide towards the target with Watson and Miller and Nicholas and all those guys. And and it was really bad for their backs, and that's why you don't see anybody doing that anymore.
Oh, okay. I didn't remember that.
It was
But talk about leg slide.
Yeah,
I mean, Scotty Scheffler looks like he's going surfing.
He does, but he's not sliding his knees towards the target and leaning to his right a lot, which causes a lot of lower back pain. He's just kind of moving all over the place and utilizing what we call in biomechanics ground reaction force, which is a fancy way of saying being able to push down and jump up through impact, because that adds speed. So
is that similar to what I remember you told me? Whatever you do, if you are athletic at all, use it.
Yes, absolutely.
Right?
We want people to, I mean, if you're a good athlete in another sport, there's no reason you couldn't be effective in golf. Now, I would say good athlete with a caveat.
Okay.
And that basketball players, not all, but are notoriously horrible golfers. I think maybe some of it has to do with how tall they are and how that would be challenging.
Sure.
But the hand-eye coordination important in basketball isn't on any level close to somebody in baseball or in hockey or in tennis. That's not something you see, you know.
Definitely hockey. There's so many great golfers.
Tons, and baseball players too.
Yeah.
And it's usually, like I'd say, players who throw.
The timing, right?
Yeah, hitting something or throwing something. Those mechanics are similar. That they transfer from sport to sport well. They also require rotation to create speed in a throw or a hit or whatever it is. Basketball has none of that. You know, basketball, your wrist goes like that.
Yeah.
That's not really a huge transfer to golf.
No.
And that height challenge becomes problematic. Football players that are bulky, they have a hard time because they can't turn and stuff. But I would say, like, athleticism to me, if I was going to measure it, wouldn't necessarily be somebody who ran the 100 meters.
Yeah.
I would say somebody that would be a decathlete. A decathlete would be a great athlete, generally speaking, you know, because they can do multiple sports. And I think that if you are proficient in, especially the throwing and hitting sports, you got a huge chance to be good at golf.
Okay, let's talk about the reason you were on Golf Channel today.
Yes.
Total coincidence that
Yes.
you're on my show, because I'm guessing that you were coming on here first, but I could be wrong.
Indeed, I was. My player played well on Friday to make the cut, which made it a story.
Yes, it did.
So then they got me first this morning. So
we're going to talk about two of your players here, and that's not one of them.
No.
Okay, now this is an old picture that I found, to be able to have both of your players in the same shot from 2011, the Rico Women's British Open. There is Danielle Kang and Yani Tseng, and Yani was probably number one in the world at the time. And Danielle was an up-and-comer, and she shot up in a hurry.
Yeah, that's a great picture.
Isn't that great? Have you ever seen that?
I have never seen that picture. I did not meet Yani until 2024, but at that time, Danielle, she was a two-time U.S. amateur champion at the time.
There she is.
And I remember the purple. It was always her favorite color. I've got lots of fun stories, even contemporarily, of her wearing either purple or marking her ball with a purple pen. But basically, Danielle was just an immense talent as an amateur.
Yep.
Eventually got to number 2 in the world, won the KPMG, and was a stalwart on the Solheim Cup team for years and years and years. And Yani with 5 majors and number 1 in the world for 24 months. So yeah, I'm teaching both right now, and I couldn't think of 2 more different people to teach at the same time. Great picture of her with her dad there.
Yep, I know you're a big fan of Mr. Kang, who's passed away.
Really wonderful picture there. And just, they're really fun. They're both challenging. The talent between the two of them is, I've never seen anything like that. They're just amazing. And, they're each telling a story right now, about their career and where they are as they're coming into their, I wouldn't call it the end of their career, but certainly the last chapter, of their career. So
exactly.
It's fun. They're both unique, but they're a blast to work with. I
elite talents, and that's not an exaggeration. No. You can't win back-to-back U.S. amateurs and not be elite, baby.
No, I mean, if you think about what you do when you win a U.S. Am, and in between that, by the way, she did win the North and South Amateur at Pinehurst, which is another really big amateur event that she won.
Okay.
But she won 18 straight matches in match play.
This is Danielle Kang we're talking about.
Right. She won a U.S. Am, then she won the North and South, then she won the U.S. Am again. So that's crazy to win 18 matches in a row. You got to have some sort of fight in you. And it only is surpassed by some other guy who won 3 straight U.S. Junior Ams and then 3 straight U.S. amateurs to win 36 matches in a row.
Wow.
You can't even understand that number because, getting to a quarterfinal is a huge deal at USAM. You've had an incredible event,
Right.
To win the entire tournament and then do it again the next year. Before her was Kay Cockrell was the first or the last person before her.
Yes.
Back to back. So
UCLA girl.
yes. So she did something amazing, and she's had a really, really kind of I'd say it's been an up and down career in terms of her results, but at the same time, she's accomplished so much.
Oh, absolutely.
And it's been an incredible ride, man. So she's a great player, and Yani is telling her story still at 36 years old, which is really
We'll
cool.
get into Yani in just a bit. Give me one good, quick Danielle Kang purple story.
Okay, purple story, Danielle Kang. So Danielle Kang wore purple, as you can see, all the time in finals. That was her color. That's kind of
like
pattern.
Tiger does red, that kind of thing.
Indeed. So when she went to, she got to the LPGA tour, and there was another girl on the tour at the time who was also with Adidas, who she signed with, who was also wearing purple.
Okay.
And she was there first. And so she wasn't very keen on Danielle wearing the purple because she was wearing the purple. I know it's shocking to think that there'd be a little rivalry going on there. So she wasn't able to wear purple Adidas when she got on tour, and she wasn't very happy about that.
Okay. Well, what are you going to do?
And you're going to ask me who that was, and I'm going to tell you.
You're not going to tell me.
No, I'll tell you. It was Paula Creamer. So.
Oh, Paula. Okay, that's right. I do remember her wearing purple.
Yeah, that was her color.
But a lot more pink.
She wore pink and purple, so there you go.
Okay. But it was purple. It was pink for her on Sundays, though, wasn't it? Or maybe I got it wrong.
I just remember Danielle not being able to wear it, and she wasn't sure about that. Danielle would definitely take things personally and use that as fire to compete against people. And man, it worked. Like if she got frustrated with someone or upset, look out. Her and I'd say Anthony Kim, who I worked with off and on at the same time, although Adam Schreiber has certainly been his long-term coach.
Yeah.
But I've never seen two players be able to take something personally and turn it into unbelievable performance like those two.
Like Jerry West used to do.
I didn't know that.
Very, very rare. In basketball. When he got pissed off, it's like you're in big trouble.
I'd say Michael Jordan was pretty much the same.
Well, yeah, and Kobe.
Yes, like it's weird. Like there are certain players where you can rattle them, and maybe they don't perform as well. You wouldn't do that to Anthony Kim or Danielle Kang. They can handle it.
Okay, so where are we with Danielle right now? As she has dipped a lot and now trying to make her way back. And I have some interesting pictures that I will show you here in just a moment. Here's Danielle.
Yes.
Remember this tournament?
Yes, I do.
Okay.
Yes, I do. She's had some unbelievable moments of change in her life,
Yes, and also some injuries too, right? And some illness.
For sure. And she would never want to talk about that. And I'm not
I get it.
Talk about it either because she would never want to use that as an excuse.
No,
That's
totally.
who she is. So I would just say that, Danielle has met challenges in her life and dealt with them and come through on the other side now. And she's enjoying her golf again, which is great for me. I'm really happy to be with her. We've had our moments, over the years where it hasn't worked out great. And this is our third run together. But I'm really happy to be with her at this point of her career where she's really trying to see things differently and come at them differently. And I think her technical swing is way better now than it ever has been, even when she was a kid.
Nice.
She's swinging better than I've ever seen her swing. She's worked unbelievably hard at that.
So it's all mental again, right?
I'd say it's just confidence right now. Like if you watch her in the practice round, she can do anything. She's still the most instinctive player I've ever seen. I'll tell you a great story about her first year. So she's left high school a semester early to graduate so she can go play college golf. Okay. She's really good. She can go anywhere in the country she wants to play for. She decides to go to Pepperdine.
Yep.
So her first tournament is at USC's tournament, and she's playing for Pepperdine. And this is now in the spring of what would have been her senior year in high school. So she's young. So she's playing her first event, and I don't know the golf course she's playing. I forget where it was, but she's coming down the stretch, and she's near the lead. And her coach, who is still a longtime friend of hers now, her coach in college, she's with her on the 18th hole, and she's like, Danielle, you need to make birdie to win this tournament, you know? And she's like, okay. And so it's a perfect drive. It's a par 5, and she can get around the green. Like, she may not be able to get all the way on the green in 2, but she can get around it. And her coach is with her, and she says, I'm not going to go for it because I can't hit a wedge right now. And her coach is like, what do you mean you can't hit a wedge? She's like, no, I literally cannot make contact with the wedges right now. They're horrible. I'm going to chunk it or blade it or something bad's going to happen. She goes, I can't hit a wedge. And she goes, okay, why don't you lay up to like 100 yards and hit it from there? And she's like, no, I'm talking any wedge. Like, I don't feel good. And she goes, well, what do you want to do? And she goes, what I want to do is I'm hitting my 4-iron really good. She goes, so I want to take an 8-iron and chip it down the fairway about 40 yards, and then I want to hit a 4-iron on the green.
Wow.
And her coach is looking at her like she's crazy, because who would do that, right?
Nobody.
Who would hit a 4-iron into the green instead
You're going backwards?
Exactly. So she chips an 8-iron about 30, 40 yards down the fairway, pulls out a 4-iron, hits it 3 feet from the hole, and wins the tournament. So who would do something like that?
And that was on 18, you're saying?
Yeah, it's last hole. She won the tournament.
Oh, that's so great.
So, like, that's who she is as a player. She's just, nobody thinks like that. And it's been really fun being with her. Like, she doesn't hit normal shots. She can see trajectories and curves and places to land balls. And the more she's that player, the more dangerous she becomes. The more she'd play like everybody else, she wouldn't be the player that she is. So I'm always encouraging her to think Danielle's way instead of think by the book, because by the book is not how she plays golf. And if we can keep her doing that, then we're gonna see the rounds. Like, she shot 5 or 6, 7 under a couple of weeks ago on a Friday.
Oh, nice.
Cut. So it's there. It's just, can we get it over the course of the 4 rounds?
Get the clutter out of your head.
Man, if there was an easy way to do that, I'd be rich beyond it.
Isn't there a vacuum cleaner you could stick in the ear there or something?
Wouldn't it be nice if you could just turn off all the thoughts and just hit the shot you know you can hit and not think twice about it?
Yes, I can't do that now. I won't be able to finish the show. But outside of that, that'd be great. Now, the reason I put this particular picture up, sorry, there it is because I posted this online whatever amount of years ago, several years ago.
Okay.
Because it was the same day that one of your other guys was leading in his tournament.
Yes.
The same day. And so I think I like texted that to you or something. I said that I put a little collage together for both of them. I mean, how great is that? It was the Brady Riggs weekend.
Yeah, that's true. That's a very good start. You know, nothing like being 8 under after the first round.
Yes. Doesn't mean you win, but
certainly not. And you know, like,
isn't that great though?
It's very cool, really neat. You know, at one point, I'm not trying to toot my own horn, but just because you mentioned these two players, in 2011, Brandon lost in the semifinals of the U.S. Amateur. Danielle won her second U.S. Amateur. So there was a point there, and he was up in that semifinal.
Oh, you were looking for the double header, baby.
I was thinking like I was going to have a very rare, twofer of having both U.S. Amateur champions at the same time. Didn't happen. But, and like so many players, I got fired by both of them eventually anyway.
Of course.
But that's the nature of the beast.
Exactly. I think if you got that, you would have been top 5 in the top 100 for the last years.
Could be. It's funny because there are all kinds of different teachers that work with tour players, and mine was always kind of get them when they're younger and then take them along the junior golf thing through high school, then into college golf and work with them in college golf. And then, by then, hopefully they're getting to that point where they're able to go have a career. And it's really fun when that happens. Really fun. I mean, it's happened a few times in my career, but most of the time along the way somewhere, you're going to get fired before they get all the way to the tour. And what's interesting is as many times as they make it to the tour, after firing, not me, but any coach they had for a long time, there's probably a 10x amount of times where they don't make it to the tour.
Wow.
And it's because, by trying to change something that made you really good at some point, you can make yourself not so good. And it's a tough decision to make. Your talent is the only thing that you have. You got to be careful with who you let in. And if you let the wrong person in, they could be the greatest teacher in the world, but if it's the wrong message at the wrong time, it's bad news.
Well, I'm totally paranoid that you're going to get some text during the show saying, it was nice knowing you.
Oh, it's going to happen. I mean, it's funny.
Don't look at your phone until we're done.
I'll do that. I'll stay off of it. You know, one of the benefits of working with players when they're older is they're probably not going to fire you because they've already been to everybody else. You know?
So you're like the 18th choice, sort of like a lot of the football coaches recently are.
I'm last chance saloon. You know, I'm the island of misfit toys. You know, when you end up with me, you try to play.
Before we get to Yani, real quick,
Yes.
Here's another one that I loved.
Oh,
Your top two were on the top of the leaderboard of this baby.
wow.
Do you remember that at all?
That has to be an old one.
Of course it's old. I'm old.
Yeah, that was something. That's
going back.
Yeah. Mama
Anyway.
said you don't have anything nice to say, right? So
Okay, I got you.
that one.
Okay, we'll go back to the real world. So here's Yani
Yes.
at this weekend at the AIG Women's British Open.
Yes.
And look at that smile. I dealt with her when she was at the old Kraft Nabisco. I was the 18th green announcer out there. We might get into that a little later. Absolutely as nice a person, and one of the very rare, not just golfers, but athletes who would actually say my name when she came over. She'd say, "Oh, Ted, it's good to see you again." It's like, no, very, very few do that. So that tells you a lot right there.
She's, you know, I've taught a lot of really interesting people over the years, and some of them really bad at golf and some really good. And I don't think I've ever met anybody who enjoys the whole challenge of the game more than Yani. You know,
Right.
Yani is not playing right now because she has to. And Yani's not playing because she is trying to prove anything to anyone else.
Yep.
But she loves the challenge. And I think it says a lot about her to do what she did in this video that you're showing up right now, is that she decided to change to left-handed. Imagine how much kind of
No, I can't.
and imagine the looks that she got. She told me at her first couple events putting left-handed, during the practice rounds, people would stand on the wrong side of her because they'd stand in front of her thinking she was going to putt right-handed, and they ended up standing behind her because she was putting left-handed.
Okay, Brady, now be honest.
Yes.
The first time you said that to her, what exactly did she say or do or look like?
She was quiet.
Like, are you insane?
You know, it's funny because in the picture you have there, that's where they're both still right-handed. And I did that by flipping the one on the right.
Oh, okay.
She's actually left-handed in that picture, but I flipped it around to as if she's right-handed to show the difference. And you can almost see the difference that's set up there, right?
Was this to show her?
No, this was in a video I made on
okay.
Just to say, look at how much I've improved her mechanics.
Yep.
And then at the end of the video, I said, I didn't do anything. I just made her putt left-handed, and then I flipped the video around so they could see that that's how she was really putting. But I think, you know, desperation had set in. You know, it's simple. Like, we tried everything. We tried left-hand low. We tried every possible grip and putter type and style and mental exercise. But, you know, the yips are not a mental, it's an absolutely a scientifically proven fact that there's I don't want to get too deep in the technical, but it's a something that happens with your brain to your nerves that you can't fix without doing something like this. Now, you could putt with the belly putter or long putter, that could get it done.
Right.
But putting left-handed is a sure way to fix it, even though it may be embarrassing to some players or they'll feel self-conscious. Not Yani. Yani wanted to go out and do it. And the first day she did it, she texted me and she said, I feel like a kid again. I'm having so much fun putting.
That's great.
It was awesome. I was so happy for her because
That's awesome.
She was finding pleasure and joy in the game. And that's why I want her to play. And that's why she's playing for sure.
And do you think she's not having fun here when she jumped into Poppy's Pond to win the Kraft Nabisco 100 years ago? It was I think it was 2011 or 2012 when she did that. But she was on top of the world. And for any golfer, I can't imagine anybody being that good and falling so much so quickly like she did. And you know what? There's got to be something also deep inside to say, you know, I don't really give a damn what people think. I'm coming back and because a lot of people would have just they would have hidden for the rest of their lives. They were no part of that.
You're right. And I'll tell you another great story about Yani, because it's kind of shows you her fortitude, her inner strength that she has.
Yep.
So there's a tournament every year at her home course in Thailand.
Yep.
And in Thailand, Yani
Taiwan,
Tseng,
you mean?
I'm sorry, Taiwan. My bad.
Yeah, it's okay.
She is a national hero there, right?
Yes, I know.
I mean, she's an icon of the highest proportion. So she's going back to
See
play.
this picture?
Yes.
Those are people following her
It shows you who she is, right?
in Taiwan. That's the crowd they get for her. They used to get anyway. That's
And
unbelievable.
They still do.
It's like
And so
Tiger.
it's incredible. So last year she went back, and this is before we started working in 2024. She went back to play in this event.
Okay.
And not playing well. And she had no idea where the ball was going off the tee, couldn't hit a chip shot solidly or a pitch shot. Her wedges were all over the place, and she had the yips. I mean, imagine how bad a space that is to go to a tournament. She hadn't made a cut in 6 years at that point, whatever it was. So she goes back to play on her home golf course, where she grew up playing, probably blindfolded, could have shot under par.
Right.
And she goes back, and in the first round, she shoots 88.
Oh, God.
And she shoots 88, and because it's so high, she's not allowed to play the second round.
Right.
Imagine the humiliation that most of us would have felt in that moment, you know? And so instead of quitting and crawling into a hole,
yes,
she didn't. And she came back, and we worked, and we fixed her swing. We turned her back into the left-right player she always needed to be. When she was being taught a draw, we worked on her short game mechanics. I sent her to a really good friend of mine, Parker McLaughlin, down in Arizona, who's a great short game coach.
Okay.
And then I changed her putting to left-handed. I mean, we changed everything. And she worked all year, and then she was going back, this is in March, to go play the same event.
Right.
And she told me, she's like, you know, I'm really nervous. You know, like last year I had a horrible experience, and this is my home country, my home golf course. Like,
wow,
everybody's there to see me, and I just don't want to embarrass myself. She goes, I'm having a really hard time not being anxious. And I told her, I said, I can totally understand why you'd be anxious. I said, but I would tell you this, you know, when you're 50 years old and your golf career is long since over, you would do anything to have a chance to go back and play one more tournament, one more round that you cared about, with your skills still able to execute, you know? So I told her, I said, no matter what happens, you just got to go for it. You know, worst case scenario, you do the same thing you did last year, who cares? But I don't see that's going to happen. And she went back and she played really, really good. I think she shot 73 the first round, 74 the second round. She missed the cut by one, and that became a theme here as we got towards the British Open this year, or the Open Championship, sorry. But it was such a neat experience for her, because what she told me was that when she was at that tournament, she felt like herself again, not in the tournament, but in the practice rounds and on the range and walking around the facilities. Instead of being embarrassed and self-conscious, she felt like Yani again. And I thought that was awesome. Like, no matter what the result was at that point, to have come from so low where she was at that tournament a year before and come all the way back to being herself again and feeling good about herself. That's why we love golf, you know, like no matter what level you're on, you want to feel that way and have those types of experiences. So it just shows her character and how strong she is to want to do that again. Because
by the way, I remember her coming on the grounds at the Craft in Rancho Mirage a few years after she dipped to nowhere. But because she won, I guess she was always eligible to play, right?
100%, yes. Yeah.
So I remember one time, and she just sort of limped into the field, and I saw her, and it was like, I almost forgot that she was still potentially on the tour, although I don't even know if she was playing much then. It got that bad. And to think where she is now, I'm just curious, what was the initial door opener for you to even meet with her? This has been almost exactly a year, right?
Yeah, it's a really good question. So Danielle Kang spoke to
Danielle.
Yeah, so her and Danielle are very good friends.
Okay.
And so Danielle had recommended her to me. Stacey Lewis's coach, a guy named Joe Hallett, who was the last year National PGA Teacher of the Year, he recommended Yani to come to me. So Yani,
why do you think he recommend? I mean, what was the fit, do you think? Besides Danielle knowing you, obviously.
I think that I like a challenge, and I'm pretty malleable about how I'm going to teach somebody. You know, like I'm not, you're going to come to me and I'm going to teach you X, Y, Z. I don't do that. I'm much more interested in getting to know her as a person and trying to figure out who she was in the past and what made her great, and then where she fell off and how I can sort of rekindle that. And, she had 2 hip surgeries too. So she had physical issues, and, to put all that together again, was a great challenge for me. But you're right. It's a weird conversation starter. Like, why did it come to me? Right. Yep. But I think that she had gone to a lot of teachers that are successful for sure, but maybe teach a little bit more kind of in a box, Yep. And I assumed most people that know this world of it's a very small world of golf instruction on this level.
Sure.
They know that I don't teach that way. So it seemed like a good fit at the time. And I'm thrilled that she did, because it's been a very fun chapter for me in my professional life, because I kind of, after working with many over the years, I sort of didn't want to do it anymore, because the pay is not very good for most of them. There's a lot of stress, travel. I didn't want to do any of those things.
That'll be a burnout factor too, right?
For sure. And I have my own kids, my own life, and everything. And I just don't really, in the beginning, it was awesome, to go to a tour event and be behind the ropes or inside the ropes. That was amazing. But after a while, it became a challenge to want to go get on planes and do all that stuff. And, it wasn't really I didn't really see it in my future. But then Yani reached out and I couldn't turn that down. Had to do it.
Did she talk about you coming to the Open at all?
No,
in Wales?
She didn't. We've talked a little bit about a couple different events that she was planning this year that I might go.
Okay.
But, I think most of our work is done.
Yeah, you don't need to be there, right?
I don't. There's some players, that want me to be there because I think they want me to see what happens during a tournament week versus a regular practice time or whatever. But, at this point, Yanni's been around the block. If Yani knows what she's doing at a tournament, she knows a heck of a lot more about winning major championships than I do. That's for sure. So, like, if I can get her game where it needs to be from a mechanical standpoint, from kind of organizing how she's going about thinking when things go wrong, because that's a huge piece of my job, is when it goes right, what happened and what do you think about on the next shot, that kind of thing. But, Yanni's never going to not know how to win majors and win golf tournaments. If she can get in those situations, she's going to execute.
Look out.
We saw that in this year's U.S. Open, because she qualified to get in a playoff in Arizona. First time in 8 years she'd qualified for the U.S. Open, which was a huge accomplishment. She couldn't have been happier. She was super excited to go. She gave great press conference before it. She's so likable, and so you can't.
She's just open. She just talks. She's she's unfiltered.
She's great. She's humble. She's funny.
Yep.
And so she played pretty well the first round. The second round, she was coming down the stretch, and I was watching the cut line. She made a couple bogeys. It's like, man, she's going to need to make a birdie on what was her 18th hole, which was a par 3. It was the 9th. She had started on the 10th hole. And it was 155 yards. She hit 7-iron right at the hole. It was a gorgeous shot. Went to 4 feet. Now, this is a player who had the yips, something fierce.
Here we go.
Going to have to walk that 155 yards and try and make a putt, the length that made her so anxious as a player in a tournament she desperately wanted to play well in, to make the cut. First
and
cut,
left-handed.
And left-handed. And so for all the world to see, she's going to go up and putt left-handed. And I'm just like, she deserves to make it. She's done the work, and she made it.
Did you like the way she set up and everything? I mean, did you feel comfortable that she was doing it?
She did exactly what she's supposed to do. She does what she always does.
All right.
At that point, you just got to let it go.
Of course.
And she did make it. And then she fist pumped. She was so excited. And then the cut dropped one, and she missed the cut anyway.
Oh, God.
Welcome to golf. But
Exactly.
But when she had to hit a shot, she did. When she had to hit a shot and execute, she did. When she had to make a putt in a playoff to get to the tournament, she did. So I think the confidence, it was starting to show that she was really believing in her game again. And I told her going to the Open Championship this year that I said, you're going to make this cut. You love this golf. This is your favorite type of golf in the world, is playing links.
Okay.
This is perfect for you. You're going in the right direction. You're going to make the cut.
And she didn't have a great weekend, but that the bottom line is the confidence has got to be incredible right now.
It's so fun. So this is great. Yeah, there's another Yani story. So I'm on the Golf Channel this morning. I didn't tell her I was going to be on or anything.
Right.
She sends me a picture of me on the screen, and it says Yani Tseng's coach, and she goes, looking good. with a hysterical. So I said, yeah, it was fun talking about you, blah, blah, blah. And, it's just so her, that's her personality. She found it funny and amusing that I was on TV and what I'm talking about her. So, but yeah, I was so excited for her. And she told me in the text after that, she said, I played with Joy in a tournament for the first time in 10 years on Sunday, because she didn't have to worry about making the cut. And she said, I couldn't be happier. And the neat thing, like, Ted, these stories, like at some point there's number one in the world and then there's not. And there's everybody else, and some people are getting that way and they may never get there, but they're getting closer. And some people are where they have been for years. And they're going to probably stay there. Yeah. Some people are going the other direction. And everybody's goals become very different as time moves on. Of course, everybody wants to win, but her goals were pretty simple. Like, she just wanted to play well. She wanted to go play and feel like herself. And she wanted to make a cut. And her manager texted me after she made the cut, and she goes, she was so nervous coming down the last hole on Friday. And she had a 2-shot cushion. She bogeyed the last hole, which is a par 5. Wow. But she made the cut. And she said, she was incredibly nervous. And I would tell you that because she's told me about her Q school, how nervous she was at Q school when she was going through that. But I don't think, other than Q school, that she's been that nervous in her career ever. The U.S. Open, trying to make the cut coming down the stretch, and the Open Championship, way more than any of the 5 majors, any of the 20 worldwide wins, the 15 LPGA Tour wins. Yep. She was more nervous trying to make a cut than she was ever winning. And it just shows you how, you can't really judge somebody during their career, because hers is a completely different career now, and it's way more fulfilling. It's way more fun. She doesn't have anything to prove. She won 5 majors. She has nothing to prove, but she just wants to play because she loves it and she wants to see if she can do it. And it's just really fun to watch her succeed. I'm so happy for her.
It's so awesome. And Yani has one of the great smiles of all time. She does. And the smile is the one thing I was going to mention to you today, with or without her in the conversation. Mm-hmm. Arnold Palmer once told me, he said, Ted, even if I'm not playing great, I need to force a smile, which is one of the reasons he was so well liked, because everybody he was like part of the crowd. He was part of Arnie's army, right? He was smiling and they were smiling with him. And I think that's a great thing to pass along, my very, very tiny 2 cents worth to try and help the rest of your career here, is to say to all of your students, smile, even if you're not happy. I watched the guy who won this weekend. I can't think of his name. Who won the LPGA?
Cameron Young.
Cameron.
Yes.
He never smiles. He looks like he's pissed off at the world. I'm serious. And you know what? That is not going to help your overall body language, maybe gripping and ripping a little too tight. I mean, if you smile and even if you're faking it, you can't cry and smile at the same time. I'm just throwing that in. And Arnold told me that. He was pretty good at it.
He's right, and they've done a lot of study on this in sports psychology, that even if you're faking it, you want to exude that positive, lightheartedness when you're out there, because if you let the pressure and the weight of it come on top of you, it will crash you. And Cameron Young has been a really good player now for 3 or 4 or 5 years. I think he played on a President's Cup team, and for all rights, he should have won an event by now.
Oh yeah.
But
he's got a ton of talent.
But that crushing pressure, I wonder if he had heard Arnie speak those words to him along the way somewhere, if he wouldn't have won before that. Because this game is all about, we know it. Like, you can hit a shot on the range, you can't do it on the course under pressure. That has nothing to do with mechanics. That has everything to do with how you perceive yourself. That's why I said to Yani, like, when you have a putt coming down the stretch, you're going to make it because you deserve it.
Yeah.
Not because your stroke's great, not because of anything else, but you put in the time and you deserve to make that putt. And I would always say that to players that I was working with. Like, you making a big putt in your career, it doesn't have anything to do with how good your stroke is. Nothing. Jack thought he'd make every one of those putts, and he did. He felt like he deserved it, and he made, and Tiger was the same way. And like, you have to believe that you deserve to do it, and you should definitely be walking around with some confidence, and you should fake it till you make it, when it comes to golf.
And by the way, that smile comment, I also made, I rarely do this with a player because it's not my job to do that or my position to do that. But I did it this time because he's a local guy. I saw him at Riviera about 4 or 5 years ago, and he has a smile to light up the universe, and looks like he's pissed off at the world when he's playing. And I said to Sahith Thagala, another Pepperdine guy, I said, you know what? And I don't know I think it was his manager was standing like 10 feet away. And I noticed him over the corner just of my eye. And I was thinking, I don't think he wants me telling him anything. It's who the hell am I to tell him? But I said something like, can I just tell you something that Arnold Palmer told me? Because I've noticed it with you. And I said, you should really smile and even fake it, damn it, out on the course more often, because not only is it going to be good for you, but people are going to love you more. And that's not a bad thing. And, and his manager walked over to me, and I thought he was going to say, who the hell are you? And he said, that's the greatest advice I've ever heard him given. I was shocked. Now, I don't know. I haven't noticed if he's actually done anything with it, but at least I had to get my 5 cents worth.
You know what? He's a really neat person.
I like him. It was the first time I ever met him, and we had a nice little, like a 3-minute chat. It was very nice.
I really like him. I think he gave his caddy a Rolex. His caddy, after last year, he had such a great year.
I'm still waiting for my Rolex from that comment, by the way.
So am I. I just want one because I know you. No,
I'll get a Tootsie Roll.
he basically, he's a good dude.
Absolutely.
I like his presence on social media. It's not arrogant. He just seems like a really good guy. And look, the game will. I was telling one of my students today. I was saying the game it breaks all of us at some point. We all get broken by it. So it's not that it's going to happen, because it will. It's how you react to that. Mine happened when I was in college and I wasn't playing as good as I wanted, and I had to kind of question the direction I was going. But everybody goes through that.
And you wanted to break your clubs.
Oh, wanted to? I brought clubs to break.
Ooh, okay, good. Now you're talking.
I was a wee bit of a volcano in college, for sure. So, yeah, have you played Porter Valley? Ever played that golf course?
No.
It was one of our home courses when I had transferred from San Jose State to Northridge. I'll tell you a sad story about myself. So,
okay.
I hated Porter Valley. I hated it. We'd play El Cab on Monday. I love El Cab. I'd always play good at El Cab. We'd go to Porter, and I wanted to hit driver because I was convinced if I couldn't hit that, I couldn't get anywhere in the game. So I was going to hit driver all day. But the course wasn't really asking for that. But I was 19, and I was hitting driver, So anyway, I would always implode at Porter. And so I played pretty well at El Cab. I was even or one under the first round of qualifying. We go to the second round at Porter, and I'm okay. And there's this downhill par 4 that was really short. It was like 330. I couldn't get there. This is 1989 or 87.
How much of that was cockiness, by the way?
Oh, all of it. I was totally.
Okay, just check.
No, 100% idiot. I take full accountability. So we're on the 6 holes, and everybody's hitting an iron to give himself a wedge, and I'm hitting driver. OB on both sides. So I walk the tee, OB right. And I hit balls OB all the time at Porter because I hit driver. Hit another one OB right, OB left, OB right. 7 straight. 10 cup before 10 cup. Let me just tell you. So I ended up making a 16, I think, on that hole or whatever it was. The next hole's a par 5. I hit 2 out on that hole. And then the 8th hole's a par 3. Well, I've gone from even or 1 over for the round to whatever, at this point. I'm going to shoot.
Did you break 100?
Well, this is part of the story. I go to the 8th hole. I got a ball left. I got one.
Oh, that's right.
I've lost so many balls at these 3 holes. So on the 8th hole, there's a lake in front of the green.
Oh, I think I know what's going to happen.
I hit in the water. So I hit in the water.
Now I can leave because I don't have any balls left.
So I get my bag. I start walking. I walk past the lake. Didn't say anything to the guys in my group. Turned right, went up the 9th hole. And on the 9th green, Coach Bracken, who I love to this day, he likes telling this story too. So he's on the green, and I'm walking up to the green, and he goes, "What are you doing?" I'm like, "I'm done." And he goes, "What do you mean you're done?" I'm like, "Well, I hit 6 or 7 out on 6. I hit 2 out on 7, and I had 1 ball left. I hit it in the water on 8. I said, I'm done." And he goes, "Seems like you're done." I'm like, "Yes." And that was the last time I played at Northridge.
Oh, wow.
Because I had finally just broken myself,
You were done. You were literally done.
I was done. And it wasn't like 2 or 3 years later, I finally played in another tournament again. It was actually the Oxnard City Championship at River Ridge. And I was very nervous because I hadn't played a tournament round at all since
few
then.
windy holes at River Ridge, what I remember.
For sure. So I had a very interesting round where I made 7 birdies and shot 1 under.
Okay.
Don't ask me how I did that.
By the way, it's amazing you remember every damn round you ever played in your life.
Golfer, you know. And so I ended up in the final group, the second round. It was a 2-day tournament with a guy named Mike Turner, who ended up playing on the Champions Tour a little bit, really good player. John Cummings, who ended up winning the tournament, and another guy named Jason Gore.
Oh,
and we were in the final group. And I hung in there really well, and I finished tied for second or third. Didn't play great the last round, but I felt like, okay, I'm back. I can play golf again.
I belong.
Yes. So I played tournaments again, and I was fine. But I had just at that point, I had so much scar tissue, I was done. But what's funny is I later ended up teaching Jason Gore down the road when he was going from what then was the Nike Tour onto the PGA Tour and then struggling there. So, you know, it comes full circle. But I think one of the things that helps me is that I did go through that time where golf broke me. And I could have easily quit, you know, and done something else. But I just love the game. And to this day, I love playing. You know, I still absolutely, I think I'm playing better golf now than I ever have in my life in terms of being consistent. You know, I have a lot of patience for myself and I understand the game a lot more. And, you know, I think that my own journey helps me help players that have also gone through their struggles. So
do you tell them as well, like some of those stories, like, hey, this is real frustration. This is life, baby.
Yeah, because like it makes it very meaningful when I'm relaying an absolute very horrific story about my own game at the time, you know, and how far down I had fallen as a player. I remember I played in the LA City men's championship. This is right around the same time, you know, that this was all happening to me. And I was playing at LA City where I grew up at Griffith Park, you know, and I played Griffith Park since I was 11 years old, you know. I love those golf courses, still do to this day.
Home course advantage.
Home course advantage, which is never a good thing because home courses are very hard to play well in. So I remember playing at LA City, and I think I shot 85 the first round. Same thing, balls going all over the place. And this is a course I could play with one club and shoot even par, you know, as a kid. And I couldn't break 80, you know, at the time. And I remember one of the pros in the golf shop, he said to me, I don't even know how you could write your name and post that score up there. How do you even put that on the board? And I couldn't believe him, like, because that's what I shot. You know, that's what I shot. Right. You know, if you're not going to post the bad, you should be posting the good. You know, he didn't understand golf at that point. I did. I got it. You know, but I think that's part of what you need to do with golf is you kind of have to become completely humble and realize it's going to get all of us, and I have to find a way to navigate that if I'm really going to be successful as a player. So it can happen, but man, it's painful.
Oh yeah. Okay, we're running a lot longer than I thought we were going to run here. So before we get to the quick lightning round question,
yes, I'm ready.
I wanted to drop in the tempo thing that I mentioned at the start. Yeah, you talk about couples and L's and some of these guys that are just, I mean, it's smooth as silk, right? Yes. It doesn't get any better. So I remember giving you my own personal little thing on how I dealt with tempo, and you liked it. So I'm wondering, do you remember it at all? In a million years, you wouldn't remember this.
Okay, I remember you telling me what your tempo thing is, but I don't remember it. So please share it again. I will as soon as you say it.
Okay, 1, up, 2, through the ball. 1, 2, through. And you liked it at the time.
I think that's a good one.
An easy swing thought that you don't even have to, it's like you either do it or you don't.
I think that's a good one.
Okay.
I think that's a good one. I liked for pitching, you know, chipping pitching. I told one of my students, Gerta, who's great fun player from LA. She said, because she had trouble with her pitching. And I said, just think Tiger Woods, you know, Tiger on the back and Woods on the way through. And she said, that's completely wrong. And I said, what do you mean? That's what's going to work. And she goes, it should be Brady Riggs. You got to break. So that's anything like that, any mnemonic device like that helps you kind of get out of your own way. It's a good thing.
That's good. I'm going to think now with your OB stories all over the place as a kid, I'm going to think OB from now on will stand for only Brady. How's that? Not out of bounds.
Only Brady could have hit that many OB on that one ball.
It's not easy, baby.
But it was funny. Somewhere around my second or third ball out of bounds, the guys in my group that are on my team, they're like, Brady, just hit an iron. I'm like, I am going to stand on this tee until I hit the driver in the fairway or I run out of balls trying.
Right.
It was only a couple holes later I ran out of balls, but I got off that tee.
What are you going to do, folks? Okay, so let's do a lightning round here.
Yes.
Your thoughts on individual players. Woods, Nicklaus, Hogan, where do you stand on those guys, and how much do you refer to their games when you are doing a thing? We could throw in Sam Snead as well, by the way, because Sammy, there he is with Tiger as a kid. And
Yes.
I still think the most ironic thing, nobody ever talks about this. They're tied for the most wins of all time, and they started together here. And Tiger's first round at Riviera, Sam Snead was there.
That's crazy. That's crazy. So I would say the
There
other
he
thing
is,
we don't
watching.
talk about is neither Tiger nor Jack won at Riviera.
Yep.
So we know that to be true. I'd say Tiger.
By the way, neither did Arnie. He won it at Rancho. He never won a Riv.
Yeah, he also hit a few balls on the range at Rancho.
Yes, he did.
Man after my own heart. So I'd say Tiger played the best golf of anyone ever.
Okay.
Nobody played as good as Tiger did when he was Tiger. You know, he was winning Augusta by 12 and the U.S. Open by 15. Right. Nobody played better golf than Tiger played. Nicklaus is still the greatest champion who ever lived. You can't run away from 18 majors. That's still the benchmark. And it's not just the major wins; it's the seconds and the thirds, which he absolutely dwarfs Tiger in. It's not even close. I think Hogan had the best. He was the best ball striker who ever lived. I think Trevino was close.
Oh,
but
okay.
I think Hogan was the best ball striker who ever lived. So that would be my take on those three. I think Sam Snead, the most athletic, probably swing in history of golf, long and smooth. I mean, who wins into their 60s on the tour? You got to be kidding me.
That is insane.
Crazy longevity.
Now throw this guy in here, Rory, not me. Throw Rory in there. And does he have an all-time game, but just has had way too many lulls for whatever reasons?
Yeah, Rory.
Or is it just his driving? I mean, sometimes he hits long irons like it's ridiculous.
He's the best driver of the ball in the history of golf.
Okay.
There's no question in my mind. He's hit bad ones, and who hasn't?
Yeah, of course.
He's the best driver who's ever played. There's no question about that. I think he's ranked up there with one of the more disappointing careers.
Yep.
In all of all
as
time.
Great as he is.
I'd say that I would also copy Brandel Chambly's take on Tiger being also a very disappointing career because of what it could have been had he stayed healthy. But I think Rory is a generational player, but he's not one of I wouldn't put him in my top five, for sure. I wouldn't put him in there. I think he has Tiger-esque talent and could do anything with a golf ball. But he just, whether it was too smart or too reactionary or too emotional, something kept him from being who he could have been as a player. And, it's too bad. But even now, I still feel like he's still all over the place emotionally. So.
But is that one of those where he should have been or for sure could have been a top five? I know it's a lot to say.
I think could have been. I think the top five is pretty tough. I mean, you got Bobby Jones. I think Jack, Tiger, Bobby Jones right off the top. Pretty hard to get out of their way. Hogan probably still had the best year of anyone in history. 1953, winning all three majors he played in. That's four right there. And then you got to look at maybe Mickey Wright. Maybe Annika's career. Hey, look at that. I knew that before you're going to put it up there. I mean, there's some. I mean, you could even say, Kathy Whitworth won 88 tournaments, wherever the heck she won.
I finished second like a million times too. I
mean, there's enough great players on both sides that Rory, I don't think, gets to the top five.
Okay, very interesting. Trust is everything in life and in your golf swing. Quick thought on how do you try to teach trust, if that's even possible?
You teach process, which is kind of like a free throw shooter, taking two bounces, bending the knees, deep breath. John McEnroe, I bet you if you closed your eyes, you could visualize McEnroe serving, right? The big rocking back and forth and the whole thing.
I can visualize him cussing me out too, which he's done, but that's another story.
That's a whole other story. I just think that process wins,
Okay.
Like being consistent with your in competition, pre-shot routines, the way you approach things, like you said, smiling all the time, all those things matter.
Okay.
And so to build trust, first you have to be very process oriented without outcome concerns. And then you got to train it.
Okay.
You got to train in stress. You know, people run from things that make them uncomfortable in all things in life. And if you're going to be an elite golfer, you signed up to be uncomfortable. Tommy Armour III told me one time, he said the difference between a tour player and somebody who had the talent to be a tour player and wasn't, was that the tour player becomes comfortable being uncomfortable. And the other guy doesn't.
Okay,
and
great.
So as I'm trying to help players get to that level, and even an amateur who's at 20, who's trying to, you know, break 80 one time, you've got to put yourself in the worst, most uncomfortable positions possible. Go play with somebody who has a bad temper. Go play in a tournament that you feel like you're not good enough to play in. Go play with some slow players because they'll frustrate you, you know.
Right.
Do anything you can to put yourself in a space where you don't feel good. Because if you do that, you're going to grow. None of us grow in anything in life without being a little uncomfortable, and that's 100% true in athletics.
Absolutely.
So you've got to run towards the nasty feelings. That's where you got to go. And if you avoid them or you run away, you'll never be what you can be.
You can't be afraid to be great.
Yes, and you can't be afraid to look like an idiot too. Like you've got to be willing to do both, you know?
Look at me.
look at both of us. For sure.
I was thinking of changing the name of the show to Touching Idiots.
You know, it's pretty close to touching greatness. I bet you a single person that's ever been great at something has made themselves look like an idiot at times chasing it. So like failure is part of the journey, man. It's just, you know, it's just part of the process of getting good. You got to figure out what doesn't work just as much as you have to figure out what does.
All right. Real quick thought, Ryder Cup coming up here.
Yes.
Your thoughts with the captain thinking, okay, do I choose myself? Is that a distraction? Blah, 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 blah. Keegan Bradley, is that a big decision or that should be easy?
I think he should be on the team playing.
And he could play one match, right? Who cares?
I think he should be playing. I mean,
Okay.
he loves this. He wanted to be on the team when he wasn't, and he was super upset about it. If you're going to put a guy in a position like that, I mean, his I think isn't Woodland's his assistant, one of his assistants. He's never even been on the Ryder Cup team.
Okay.
Like, you know, the world we're living in, all rules seem to be gone out the window, and all.
That's for sure.
If the worst thing that happens is that Keegan Bradley plays as a captain on the Ryder Cup team, I really don't care. I think
exactly. Who cares?
Nobody cares.
Why should anybody care?
Nobody should care. He's got the right mindset. He's a baller, you know.
Exactly.
I got to tell you a quick Keegan Bradley story.
Yes,
you know,
please.
So Ben Fox, who you know, one of my favorite players.
Great guy.
He qualifies for U.S. Pub Links. We go up to Bremerton, Washington, to play in the U.S. Pub Links. He gets through the first two rounds, gets to match play, and in the first round, he draws this dude from Idaho. And you know, we're like, okay, we're on the first round, first tee, and this guy, man, he's all over the place. He's got all these ticks, and he's doing all this weird. He's walking in and walking out. And he hits this 60-yard hook off the first tee, starts way right, slings it into the left junk, and Ben hits it right down the middle. And we're walking off the first tee, and I go, Ben, dude, you're so much better than this guy. Just play your game. We'll take him down. Don't worry about it. This guy's hooking it all day, driving us is absolutely crazy with all of his strange goings on with, you know, and we get smoked 4-3. So I tell him after the round, I'm like, hey, you know what? That was a one-off. You know, there's that guy's, he's nothing. You know, you're going to make it. This is just a minor setback. No big deal.
Right.
So I don't know if it was maybe 6, 7, 8 years later when Keegan Bradley knocked in the putt to win the PGA championship. I got a call from Ben Fox.
Oh, no.
He goes, yeah, you're right. That Keegan Bradley, he's never going to be anybody. So another fantastic prediction on my part. But you know what? The guy, he can play, man. He can play. And I love guys that are unorthodox, that are out there to compete. Do you ever feel like watching him that he doesn't care?
No.
I don't ever see it. I see a guy who cares. He's all in. And
like every single shot. And some guys are like, okay, next. I mean, and that's not necessarily a bad thing, but it's passion. That's what it's about.
In this tournament, That's what you got to have. You got to
Totally.
So I'd take him any day.
So does that also make you better in match play, you think?
Sure, 100%. I mean,
because
it's personal.
Okay.
A regular tournament's not personal. There's 144 guys.
And it's me and the other guy. It's not, I don't care about what anybody else is doing, right?
100%. It's a personal thing. If you're good at vilifying your opponent in another sport, match plays for you. It doesn't matter what you made on the hole, just that you won the hole. You could have had nothing but sixes. And if you had enough sevens versus your sixes, you won the match. It's only about winning. That's the only thing that matters. And you want a guy who's got grit, who's got passion, who's there for one purpose and one purpose only, not a paycheck. You want a guy who's there because he desperately hates to lose. And that's the common denominator on people that are great in match play. They hate losing more than they like winning, and that drives them to avoid losing. And they're very, very good at it. And that's why Tiger was Tiger, and that's why Danielle was Danielle. And I'm telling you, you want Keegan Bradley in a match play situation, for sure.
Okay, when's the next time Yani and you get together for a little practice?
She's off playing an event this week, I think on the LET tour.
Oh, okay. While she's there?
Yeah, she's there. She can play one more over there. And then she's coming back for Portland. When she gets back, she'll probably see me the week after Portland. And then we'll get back at it again. So it's going to be fun. Danielle will be in Portland as well playing. So,
nice.
Yeah, hopefully we'll have a couple. Maybe you can do another screenshot if we have
to do 1-2, right?
That'd be great. That'd be good.
That would be incredible.
I told them both, I said, I hope you guys get in a playoff. Okay. And then
you close your eyes, whatever happens, happens.
Coverage stops, for some reason, because they cut away from LPGA Tour events. And then I don't know who won. That way I don't have to stress out over it because I'm rooting for both of you guys. So.
Oh, that would be so. And they really are good friends, huh?
They're great, and they couldn't be any more different, in terms of their serious level. And Danielle is just such a competitor, and she's so she's tunnel focused, and she's amazing, and she's got all the grit in the world. And Yani is like happy-go-lucky, and
hey, let's have a great time today.
And they're funny because imagine those two personalities together. But I think it works because they have a tremendous amount of respect for each other because they're both champions and great players, and they get along great. So they play practice rounds together sometimes too, which is fantastic. They were paired together at KPMG.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, they were very cool. Very cool.
Outstanding. Well, I was going to ask you off the air, but I real quick question.
Yes.
The chances that you can invite me over when you're with Yani over at the club.
I'd love to. Of course,
I would love to be there. I would absolutely love to be there.
She would. I'm sure.
No inside stuff. I won't. I just want to be there.
It's one of the more I truly enjoy having her come out and working with her. It's just a lighthearted, fun, very interesting experience. And I'm telling you, Ted, she can flat play still. It's not like she's amazing. She's so talented as a ball striker. And she would tell you that even when she was winning majors, she wasn't a great putter. She was an okay putter. Right. And I think her putting is going to get better than it ever was.
Wow.
And so I want to be there because she hasn't lost any length either. She kills it.
Amazing.
So it was she.
Well, people forget she's 36 and it's only 36. It's not 46.
Well, in the women's game, that your grandma out there,
Yeah, well, whatever.
I know what for her, she doesn't care. And to you and I, we wouldn't care. But in that world of that professional golf and amateur golf on the women's side, it is a young person's thing. And it's weird to have her out there for some people to say, well, she's 36, but she absolutely belongs out there because she's still phenomenal. She's a great player. I took her to Bel Air with one of my students, and she played with Maddie out of Bel Air. Nice. They had a great time. And Yani just hit it fantastic. And she couldn't have been nicer to my student. Who's gonna go play college golf next year in Tennessee.
Great.
And her and Maddie had a great time. And Maddie's played with a lot of really good players in her life. And Maddie, afterwards, she told me to tell Yani that she's the best player she's ever played with.
Wow.
And she loved her attitude and everything. So that's who she is. Everybody that she interacts with feels that way about her. She has a lot of fans because of that. I mean, she's very, very easy to root for.
I need to grab her on the side, though, and say, you got to mention Brady's name a little more often. She keeps saying, I have a new coach. Yeah, what is it? He doesn't have a name or what?
It is what it is. I don't.
I know.
I don't care, and
I know, but I do.
I appreciate that. I know you do, and I appreciate that. Trust me. But Yanni's, she tags me on social media all the time and all that other stuff on stuff. So
she's got to tag this show.
That'd be nice.
Yeah, I tweeted it out, so please let her know to tweet out to everybody around the world, because we got some great talk. By the way, where does she compare, like on the scale of distance hitters right now, as opposed to, you say she hits it as long as she ever did? Is she still like on the upper echelon, or it doesn't need to be?
For sure she is. I mean, she's probably she's easily in the top 10%.
That's great.
Yeah, her 7-iron carry distance is probably around 160. LPGA Tour average is 142. So she hits it far. I mean, she's 2 irons past most LPGA Tour players. Her driver, when she hits it well, 270, 275. That's still far. She can bring it. I mean, she's physically in terrific shape. She works incredibly hard. I think, like I said, there's no reason.
Whole attitude too.
You don't keep playing after all the crap she went through unless you have a great attitude.
Brady, it's been great. I loved every second of this. We got to do this again before a major. I want to get into that kind of a stuff. Can we do that sometime?
I'd love to. We should have a pre-Ryder Cup one if you want to.
Well, it's coming up. What is that? About a month away?
I think it's October. Isn't it October?
I think you're right. Yeah.
Yeah, we got a couple.
Yeah, we got the playoffs first, which is 3 weeks.
Who cares?
Yeah, who cares?
Nobody cares about that.
That is so boring. I have no interest in it.
It's a money.
You know what? And for all you guys out there, you chauvinist pigs, I would much rather watch the women on a weekly basis than the general men's. Now, if Tiger and Rory are going at it or that kind of, that's a whole different story. You give me the LPGA Tour, and I'm not just BSing here. It's every week.
And you know what's funny? There are people I know online talking about how a scratch player on the a men's amateur can go play with that. Let me just
good luck.
Have a good time.
Dreaming.
Have a good time with that. They are absolutely dreaming. They have no idea how good these girls are. And I would tell you across the board, and I'm not saying this because I'm biased, although it might be a little bit towards.
Although you are, but that's fine.
But I would just tell you that the women hit the ball way better than the guys. They're more consistent.
You mean flush?
100%. They hit it better.
We got to get into that another time. We got to talk about
more greens in regulation. They hit it straighter. Yes, they don't hit it as far. We know that. But I'm telling you, in terms of quality ball striking, it isn't close. Guys play a different game. They hit it really far. They grab lob wedge from the trees and hit it out of the rough onto the green. The girls don't do that, man. They hit the fairway a lot, and then they hit really good quality iron shots. They're very, very good on the most basic shots around the green. They're phenomenal. The one difference is in the crazy shots around the green, the guys are better. And the reason for that is they practice it.
Oh.
If you had a men's team in college golf practicing and a women's team, the women's team around the short game area, everybody's got a tube full of balls. They stay in one place and they're hitting that shot over and over and over. They're really good. Really, really good.
That's interesting.
The guys are competing over in the corner and they're hitting it,
Who can get closer.
1 foot in the bunker, off the trash can. Like, it's a completely different.
That's very interesting.
They just train differently. That's why my daughter used to live practicing with the guys team because it's way more fun.
Wow.
But it just shows you, like, that to me is the difference between the two games. So I think the women are better at the basic shots and the guys tend to be better at the crazy shots. And I'd rather be better at the basic shots.
Oh, no doubt. And as we say goodbye here, I want you to know you made my day because you said Yani is the 7 irons about 160. That's only about 10 more than me, and that's close enough. If I'm that close to a number one player of her eliteness, I'll take it.
And you're probably going off of maybe 20 years ago numbers for yourself, but good for you, Tim. I'm proud of you.
Oh, wait a minute. You know what? I haven't played lately. Now I got to go find out what I got left.
You need to see what's in the tank.
Not much, baby. Thanks, Brady. Great job, man.
Great talking to you, Ted.
Be well. That's Brady Riggs. Not 100, top several, at least.
Thank you.
All-time teacher.
Appreciate that.
You got it. Bye.